Greetings and welcome tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's another beautiful day here, sitting out by the old koi pond. The dogs running in the yard. Other dogs are barking. Birds are singing. Just another beautiful spring day. Tonight's episode 20 of Karl's Spirit Month. Can you believe it? 20 episodes. Never dreamed I would be doing 20 of these episodes and sharing it with you guys. It's been a really great time. Tonight, we're going to be tasting one of my favorite lines, the Old Forester 1920 Prohibition style bourbon. Remember, this week is Big Bourbon Week. And remember, I mean by that we're going to be tasting bourbons all this week with a high proof point. In this particular case, all the bourbons I'm going to be talking to you about are over 110 proof. So that's over 55% alcohol. So these are not for the faint of heart. These are not your let's take a couple of shots type of bourbon. These are good sipping bourbons, guys. These are usually a little bit higher price, but they're usually a little higher quality as well. And so this is one that you just want to sit back with and sip and really savor and enjoy. So tonight, Old Forester Prohibition style is actually one of four bourbons in Brown-Forman Distillery's Whiskey Row series. It's a premium series of bourbons, of four bourbons. Each expression commemorates a benchmark year in the history of the Brown-Forman Distillery. We've already talked about the 1910 that we had talked about previously a couple weeks ago. Actually, I think that was episode 3 we talked about that particular bourbon. So this is the 1920 expression. And in 1920, something big was really going on in the country. Something called Prohibition. I know we've all heard of it. But what happened in 1920 was Owsley Brown. He's the son of the Brown-Forman founder. He was granted a special permit by the government to produce bourbon whiskey during Prohibition. Now, this is actually fairly impressive. There were only 6 permits issued during the 13 years of Prohibition. So only 6 distilleries remained open in the country during this time and continued to produce whiskey. Brown-Forman was one of those. It continues to produce bourbon to be used for medicinal purposes only. And this not only allowed Brown-Forman to survive this so-called morality experiment that was the 18th Amendment to the Constitution, but also allowed them to thrive. A lot of people began to really dig their bourbons and their whiskeys during Prohibition. But other brands, of course, were not so fortunate. And Brown-Forman, making money, were able to come in and buy a lot of those brand names. I think if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we did the Early Times Bottled in Bond review. And it was purchased by Brown-Forman, and all of its stock was turned into medicinal alcohol at the time. So Old Forester 1920 is to commemorate Brown-Forman going into the whiskey business during Prohibition, surviving, and coming out a very strong company. In the glass, this has a mash bill of about 72% corn, 18% rye, so a little higher rye, 10% malted barley, and comes off at 115 proof. That's right, 115 proof. Doesn't sound like a huge jump from that 111, but you're talking about, 8% more alcohol. So it's a really, really spicy bourbon. It's not a spicy bourbon. It has some heat, though. There is no age statement on this. Rumor has it around the interweb, it's about 6 to 8 years. Somewhere in that neighborhood is probably what we're looking at on the age of the Old Forester 1920. And I will tell you this, in the glass, it doesn't get much prettier than that. We're talking about a nice, dark, rich copper color. This is just an outstanding color. I kind of get lost in the colors myself. I like the way bourbon looks in a glass. It just really speaks to me. Don't ask me what it says because I don't know. It's got great thick lines that don't come down the side of the glass very easily. They're really sticky. So that also indicates that higher proof point really quick. So in the glass, this looks phenomenal. It really, really does. So let's get into the tasting here a little bit. The nose has a great nose. It's rich. Wow. It's liquid brown sugar in a glass almost. It's just really sweet. It's got some very dark cherry aromas coming in there, some baking spices also linger a little bit. Especially, I found that if you let this set in the glass for a little while, it smells better and better. It takes a while to really open up. I think it takes a while for that ethanol to kind of come off the glass and leave you with what's really there. So you'd be better off to pour a glass of this, let it set for a few minutes, and then maybe give it a couple swirls in the glass, let it loosen up a little bit. You really start to get those rich aromas. And what a rich taste. This has a great mouthfeel. It's thick, it's viscous, it really coats your mouth well, and it's sweet and spicy at the same time. And I know I've used that term a few times on some of these other reviews, but it's really true. You get a lot of sweet, you get a lot of spice all at the same time. It's a cornucopia of flavor all at once. I get a lot of that dark cherry notes. It's not like a cough syrup dark cherry, but it's a real dark cherry puree type. But I also get one of my favorite notes in this, and that's chocolate. It's a nice, syrupy, dark chocolate in the taste. It just really kind of sits there at the back of the tongue and says, hey, there's chocolate in here, and this is really good. You know the alcohol's there, but it's really kept in check by the flavor. I think this is where you see the art of blending and mixing these bourbons to get that consistent flavor. And you're keeping the alcohol, even though it's there, 115 proof, it's there. You know it's there. You can taste a little bit of the heat, but it's really kept in check by the flavor. And I think that's what's really cool about this bottle. As far as finish, it's incredibly smooth. It's got a good chest burn, and I start to pick up the leather and oaky notes on the finish. And I get a little bit more smokiness as well. It really kind of stands out here. But that long finish just kind of lingers and lets you know that it's there. There's a little burn from the spiciness, but guys, it's 115 proof. You're going to have a little bit of alcohol burn or spicy burn, but it's very, very manageable. I've had 90 proof that's a whole lot more alcohol astringent and burning than this one. What's my takeaway for this bottle? Full disclosure, I'm really partial to Old Forester, their Whiskey Row series and their regular 100 proof expression. Partial to some of their other brands, such as that Woodford Reserves. Several of their bottles are awesome. I'm really partial to that Early Times. I am not partial to their other brand, Jack Daniels. Could care less, but that's just me. Don't care for the Jack. But they consistently make really great product with a really great taste. And that's really made them a staple of the bourbon community for almost over 100 years now. And this bottle has just a really great taste, and it's a really good example of their quality control and their masters at blending the bourbon to get a great, rich bourbon taste. So what am I going to rate this? Is this a 5-star? No, it's not. And I have a reason for that. It's not a 5-star for a very simple reason is its price point. This is about a $60, $65 bottle of bourbon. It is too expensive to be a daily drinker, which with this flavor is what I would want to do with it. Can't afford a $65 bottle as a daily drinker. This is something special to sit and have drinks with people with and really enjoy. It's not a daily drinker, though. So that's going to hold that back a little bit. But quality-wise, it makes this a 4 3/4 star pour. That's 4.75 stars on the Karl scale, guys. I really enjoy it. It's fairly easy to come by. You can find it in Cape and Jackson. I would highly recommend if you can find a bottle and you have a little extra money, this is a great pour and a great bourbon. So, as always, you know the drill. I want everybody to stay safe. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy the spring. Seems like we never get to enjoy our springs, but please do so. But more importantly, stay safe while you do it. And as always, peace and happy pours.